Well, good afternoon. It's Monday the 7th of August. I've got a few days in Devon and I decided to come to Dartmoor. So I drove down this morning, just stopped off at Chagford, had a coffee and a cake there, and just decided to do an 11-mile round trip to Fernworthy Reservoir and back. Looks a fairly easy walk. Fair bit of road walking, but the road's very quiet and the weather's okay. It's sunny, there's blue skies, so I'm happy. I'm staying in a little Airbnb cabin tonight and tomorrow night, and then hopefully the plan is to do about 28 miles in a circle on Dartmoor around Princeton and Wild Camp for Wednesday night, but we'll see how that goes. Chagford Bridge. So I'm winding my way up and down these little country roads, very little traffic. I've seen one person on a horse and one car in the last 20 minutes. Should have gone down a track on the left about half a mile ago, but it was very clearly marked. No entrance and no footpath signs. So I'm doing a bit of a detour. Lovely sunny day, quite warm, quite a few flies around as well, but there we are. So coming into Gidley Wood now. This is our slight little detour. It's really quite warm, and I'm followed by about 150 flies all buzzing around, which is a bit unpleasant, but just been up quite a steep hill, so sweating buckets. What can you expect? Pretty good view from here. So we're descending through Gidley Woods at the moment. A whole load of what look like pines, I think. Very quiet. Just a little bit of a stream in the background. Going to cross that in a minute. Haven't seen anyone else for a while. Lovely walking on a thick bed of needles. Thick bed of pine needles, rather. I don't think it'd be particularly good walking on a thick bed of sewing needles, but I'm sure you gathered that. So just come down to cross the North Tyne River. Lovely little bridge. I was wondering whether I was going to have to wade across, but this bridge will do nicely, thank you very much. Very picturesque, look at that. Fab. we go. And public footpath. So just walking across Chagford Common, you can see probably just behind me, really got the startings of Dartmoor, and just in front of me is what's called Round Pound, sort of old stone circle, which you can just about see there. The wind's picked up a bit, which is a blessing, because it's got rid of the flies, but it's warm. Whew. Starting to wish I put my shorts on, but this is nice. This is lovely, nice and quiet. There seems to be a soul around. One or two houses in the distance, but nothing much. And you really get the feeling that you're out on your own a little bit, albeit walking down a little road. But very nice walk so far. So, rather unusual, little passageway of stones. Looking at the landscape here, it could easily be Scotland. Similar sort of vegetation, similar sort of tree felling, similar-ish sort of moorland. We'll see the difference is it's not raining, but there we are. And here is Fernworthy Reservoir. Just doing the bit of the round the reservoir walk, which will take me just to the road where the car park and visitor centre is. I've been here before COVID, when I came down to Dartmoor to do some running, and on my way back I stopped off here and did a short run. You can just about see the reservoir there. That's a bit better. Sun's gone in a bit now. Still a lovely temperature. Been a decent walk. About 6 or 7 miles, so about 4 more to go. So this is the spot, a little picnic spot right by Fernworthy Reservoir. Toilet's unfortunately locked, but there we are. And I was hoping I might be able to find an ice cream, but nothing there. But hey ho, I'm going to stop here, have my sandwiches, then head back. Weather's good. Quite cloudy now, but still warm. What are you doing hiding there? Yes. Well, the weather is certainly a bit different today. This is Meldon Reservoir, and I'm hoping to do a walk to Furtor. As you can see, the visibility is not great, so we'll see how we go today. So first of all, across the reservoir, I think. Nice cheery notice, danger of death. Fab view. Quite windy today, but still rather misty and a bit wet. I bought my walking poles with me today because I did think it was going to be bit hard work on the knees going up and down, but we'll see again how useful they are. Just about to cross the river, or stream I suppose. Ground is quite wet, fairly boggy. Glad I got my boots on today. Well, as you can see, visibility is not great. So behind me you can, well, you should be able to see Shelston Tor. The visibility is getting a bit worse. I'm going to carry on for another 20 minutes and see what it's like. Come up a little bit too high actually, so we'll just descend a little bit. Just coming up to the top of Shelston Tor. Path sort of petered out for a bit, so I had a happy little excursion through good old Dartmoor bogs, but I'm hoping I'm back on track. Still, the jury's out about the weather. It may get better and it may not. I've got a plan B in mind, which is to break back northeast at Shelston Tor, which takes me around the other side of Howden Reservoir, if necessary, and back to the car. But it does look marginally better now. Sheep certainly don't seem to mind at all. I'm at the top of Shelston Tor, and as you can see, the mist is right. There's actually bugger all to see. So I think it's pointless to just carry on walking in the mist. That could be anywhere. So I'm going to break back north and join up with the Two Castles Way and take back to Howden Reservoir. Can't see any sign of this clearing quickly. Certainly it seems foolish to carry on walking and can't see anything at all. So I've decided to come lower down, going north towards the A30, picking up the Granite Way, and then back to Meldon Reservoir. It'll only be about a 6 or 7 mile walk, but there we are. I think that sheep is probably beyond hope, unfortunately. But there we are. And this is the Meldon Viaduct. Just walked up the Granite Way, which is not particularly interesting walking, but I came down to Dartmoor about 7 years ago and did some running and ran up the Granite Way from the campsite there, and just wanted to revisit that. So it's still grey, off and on rain, but there we are. Good morning. Well, I left Princetown at about 10:15. Got there about 9:30 and popped into the cafe and had a coffee and a scone. Today I'm starting what I hope will be a 36-mile loop from Princetown. Left the car there. I'm going southeast along quite a well-defined track. I know this track quite well because I've run it a couple of times. I'll certainly run the first 12 miles of it a couple of times. So hopefully impossible to get lost. And then I'm bearing sort of round in a loop east to Scorriton, where I should pick up the Two Moors Way. Follow that up through Holme and up to Widdecombe, and hoping to camp at Widdecombe, wild camp there, and then that'll be about 20 miles. And then tomorrow follow a little bit more of the Two Moors Way and cut back west eventually to get to Princeton. Hopefully get to Princeton in time for a cup of tea and a cream tea, but we'll see. The weather isn't great, quite misty, but I think this mist will clear. Down lower it's quite nice and sunny, and the forecast is not too bad. Interesting enough, BBC weather forecast got it completely wrong again. Yesterday it was saying that today and tomorrow will be pretty good weather, and it completely changed its mind overnight. But there we are. I've got my map, got my compass, got my OS app and OS locate, so touch wood, shouldn't get lost. Been walking uphill since Princetown, and I think if my memory serves me right, once I get to this outcrop of rocks where the horses are, it's a gentle downhill for a while, which should be nice. I bought myself a cheap Osprey Highlight 32 rucksack off eBay. Quite a good bargain, it was something like 60 quid. And I was hoping to use that today and go really light. I couldn't quite get all the stuff I wanted into it. So I think I might have made a slight mistake with that. I reckon I'm going to need about 40 litres. I was almost there, but it was almost bursting at the seams. And it was only about 9 kilos fully laden. So I've had to go back to my trusty Osprey Atmos 65, which I took with me on the West Highland Way in the Hebrides. It's quite a lot lighter now than it is then, although I brought quite a lot of water with me, anticipating that it might get warm. I watched Hayes Outdoors yesterday reviewing the Osprey Exos 44, I think it was, and also the 55. Thanks, Hayes. I think I might well get myself a 44 for sort of less demanding multi-day hikes, and keep my Atmos for the longer hikes, because it is quite heavy. But at least I've been able to bung in everything that I want, plus a few things. So for instance, I put a book in. I've got a couple of packs of food just in case I decide to stay out longer and walk a bit further. It's really lovely and peaceful up here. I'll just stop walking for a moment. Can't hear anything at all. A couple of miles into the walk, just seen one other walker going the other way. Very slightly damp, but in the horizon over there you can just see the sun's coming through, so let's hope it does. So we're just at Nuns Cross Farm, and if you take the track ahead, it will eventually get you to Borator Reservoir, which is a good walk. And from there you can take some more road back to Princetown, and there is the farm. Must have been quite isolated living there. Doesn't look like anyone lives there at the moment, but we'll be walking past that, and we're following the track up somewhere just to the left of that tree, I think, but we'll see how we go. Lovely and peaceful. Just a few sheep. no one around. Slightly damp, but not raining. Hooray! Well, since I left the path at the farm, a deserted farm, the going has been quite slow. The path sort of petered out. This is actually the Abbott's Way, but I couldn't find it. So I've had to sort of go across the top, climbing through long grass that's very boggy. We've got to be a bit careful where you put your feet, because you're never quite sure where your foot's going to go down. There is what appears to be a path in the distance. So I'll show you there, just over there. And that's where I'm heading for, which I'm hoping will be slightly quicker and easier walking. Well, that appears to be a much better defined path. So whether I just missed it or it missed me, I don't know. Now we're going to get across here. Yeah, I think I can see a route, probably just over there. I think I'm about 2 kilometres until I pick up the Two Moors Way, and I'll stop then and have some lunch. I'm a bit behind time. The last hour and a half, I think I've probably only done about 1.5 miles. So I've been continually relying on my map and compass and everything, and even then it's pretty hard going. Well, going has been very slow, but about 1 mile ago I hit the Two Moors Way, which is much clearer, and I'm just following the path down now to cross the little stream. Stand at the stream now. Have a little stream coming down the valley, and that's where I've come from. Fairly tough climb down, actually, hard on the old knees. I'll stop here and have some lunch. It's 2:30 now, looking a bit gloomy. I reckon I've probably got about 12 miles to go. Aiming to camp in Widdecombe, but I might camp before that. See how we go. Made quite slow time this morning. I'm hoping this afternoon will be slightly faster. Well, it's 10 to 4. Situation update. I was walking along quite happily in a world of my own at Huntingdon Cross, following what I thought was the Two Moors Way. But it turns out I went onto the Abbott's Way instead. I couldn't be bothered to backtrack, should have done. It's about 1 kilometre before I realised. So I carried on up the Abbott's Way. The Abbott's Way is not well marked. It faded away after a while and had a happy half an hour going across the moor. Really slow going. But then, hooray, I came across the path again. And I've just left the moor. About 2 kilometres from Scorriton, so I should just join a little road and then a little bit of road walking up to Scorriton. There's a pub at Scorriton. I'm hoping that might be open. Might pop in for a quick drink. Still hoping to make Widdecombe in the moor, and hoping to camp just west of Widdecombe. We'll see how it goes. It's been much slower going than I thought it would be, but that's walking on the moors for you. It's been quite hard work as well. I must admit, I've only done about 10 miles, but I'm feeling quite whacked. But I've got probably another 4 hours walking. I don't really want to start looking for a campsite or somewhere to set my tent up until about 8 o'clock, and then fix myself something to eat and go straight to bed, I think. Much softer countryside now that we're off the moors, sort of much more representative of the south of England. Soft rolling fields. It's been quite gloomy today, but no rain. This morning it was a bit damp, but it's been pretty good actually. Pretty good walking weather. So I hope it stays like this, and I hope the rain holds off at least until I can get my tent up. This is what the countryside is looking like. Rather nice. Hills in the distance. England's green and pleasant land. Much easier walking now. I'm on a little public bridleway, so hopefully I can get a move on. Just managed to make the little village store at Holme. It's about 10 to 5 and they close at 5, so very pleased to get there in time. Got a lolly and a Coke and some water. Oh, very steep climb up. Well, very steep climb down into Scorriton, never ending, about a mile, almost vertically down the road, and then pretty much the same up on the track to Holme. So that was hard work. About 7 miles from Widdecombe, and it's nearly 5 o'clock, so hopefully should get there by 7, half 7, 8, and put up the tent and stay. So just walking down above the River Dart, which is in full flow. Lovely. Very scenic. So it's 10 to 7 and just crossing the river just before we get to Jordan. Widdecombe's about 3 miles away, I think. Well, it's 7:20 and I'm walking down into Widdecombe. I could have cut left and followed the Two Moors Way up to the campsite, but I've decided to hope that the pub's open and get a drink and replenish my water. So 25 to 8, just coming into Widdecombe, looking forward to finding the pub. It's been a long walk. There's the church. Oh, that's better. You can't see it particularly well on the video, but it's a fair old climb for about a kilometre to get to somewhere where I hope I can find somewhere to camp. Sun is pretty much set, and I'm just about to have my fire pot posh baked beans. Good morning all. It's 7 o'clock. Just cooking up water and our porridge. Didn't sleep particularly well, but beautiful starry sky. Absolutely wonderful. Could see all of the Milky Way, could see Mars or Venus, not quite sure. So many stars in the sort of detail that you don't normally get to see in England. I'm just going to have my porridge and a cup of coffee and then pack up and start heading back to the car. That's where I camped last night. Nothing left there. Check very carefully. As you can see behind me, the mist has come right down. Can hardly see a thing. So plotted my route back to Princeton, and I've decided that if I go up over this hill for about a mile, I should meet a little track, a road or something like that. That will take me back towards Two Bridges, and from then on to Princeton. I reckon it's going to be 9-10 miles, something like that. So I'm hoping to get back, that's about a mistake now, back to Princeton by midday, and then something to eat in a cafe, and then head for home. So, middle of summer in Dartmoor, cold, damp and misty. So just descended from the moors, and we've got much more visibility now, and we're at Widdecombe, and I'm just going to follow the little road straight ahead, which will eventually take me back to Princeton. The sign says Princeton 9. We'll see whether that's actually true or not. So I've been walking for about an hour now. Still very misty. Just on my right is Susans Forest. Quite difficult to see things, but the forest looks rather nice actually in the mist. You get a sense there, which is nice. Grass and moorland on my left. Just following the road, which makes a relatively easy walking. And done about 3 miles so far, so making pretty good time. Lots of condensation in my tent last night. I unzipped some of the sides, but there was absolutely no wind at all. So, sort of 5:30 this morning, once I managed to get to sleep, I was woken by drips of condensation onto my head. So it took a little bit of time to clean off the tent and dry it. End of my sleeping bag was really quite damp as well. So I'm quite glad I'm not having to dry that, because it's a damp old day, and I don't think I've managed to do that. So this is the Clapper Bridge. Just going to go across this and have a look and see what it's like. It's one of the must-see sights of Dartmoor. So the view from halfway across the Clapper Bridge. A couple of people here as well. So just stopped in Belvedere Forest. There's a little footpath here that gets me off the road. I've done 5.3 miles, so probably about another 4.5 to go to get to Princeton. Still fairly low-lying mist. Nice to see the old Clapper Bridge. And just going to stop here for a drink and a Snickers bar, and then carry on walking. So walking through Belvedere Forest, Nice little forest path. This takes me about a mile or so before I join up with the road. Good walking weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Some of the mist is still hanging around, but it's still very pleasant. And the view from the Two Bridges Hotel. So just coming into Princetown, there's the prison. Fairly grim old place. They were supposed to be closing it down, but they've decided to keep it open for a bit. And probably about 3/4 of a mile to go. And just back at Princeton, just where I started, just by the railway. Oh. Nearly there.